Some say that old buildings hold secrets, but few realize just how valuable those secrets can be. My name is Rachel Chen, and this is the story of how my grandfather's worthless hotel turned out to be worth more than my entire family's fortune combined. The Grand Plaza Hotel had seen better days, at least on the surface. Its Art Deco facade still hinted at past glory, but decades of minimal maintenance had left it looking tired and outdated. To most of my family, it was an embarrassment. To me, it was a mystery waiting to be solved. "I still can't believe Grandpa left you this dump," my cousin Michael said, his expensive loafers clicking against the marble lobby floor. "Though I suppose it's fitting, he'll always wear his favorite charity case." I kept my expression neutral as I led the family tour. 3 days after Grandpa James' will reading, and they still couldn't accept that he'd left me his prized possession instead of the successful grandchildren. "The building has potential," I replied, thinking of the strange notes I found in Grandpa's private study. Pages of calculations, old blueprints with cryptic markings, and a series of letters dating back to 1945. Potential for what? Collapse? Aunt Patricia sniffed, brushing dust from her designer sleeve. "The maintenance costs alone will bankrupt you within a year." What they didn't know was that I'd already assembled a team of structural engineers and historical preservation experts. Grandpa's final letter to me had been very specific. "Look deeper, little bird. The real treasure isn't in what they can see." "Michael's offer is very generous," Uncle Robert chimed in. $100,000 for this liability? You'd be foolish not to take it." I thought about the mysterious blueprints, the sealed basement levels that didn't appear on any official records, the stories Grandpa used to tell about the hotel's role during World War II. "I think I'll hold on to it for now," I said, leading them toward the grand staircase. Grandpa seemed to think it was important. Michael laughed sharply. "Important?" The old man was losing it near the end. All that nonsense about secret rooms and hidden values. If only they knew about the ground-penetrating radar scans we completed yesterday or the anomalies the engineers had discovered beneath the foundation. "The property taxes in this area are astronomical," Aunt Patricia continued, "and the historical preservation requirements, you'll never turn a profit." I watched as Michael ran his hand along the ornate wall paneling, not noticing the subtle patterns that, according to Grandpa's notes, weren't just decorative. "Speaking of preservation," Michael said, "I saw some workmen earlier. Don't tell me you're actually spending money on this place." "Just some structural assessments," I replied carefully. "Basic due diligence." "Waste of money," Uncle Robert declared. "The land is the only thing of value here, and even that's limited by historical zoning laws." My phone buzzed. A message from Dr. Sarah Jean, the lead engineer. "Found it. Exactly where the blueprints indicated. You need to see this immediately." "Well," I said, checking my watch, "I have a meeting with the assessment team." "Thank you all for your concern, but I think I can manage." "Stubborn, just like your grandfather," Aunt Patricia sighed. "Don't come crying to us when this place drains your savings." As they left, I could hear Michael already planning what he'd do with the property once I came to my senses. Little did he know that the Grand Plaza's biggest secret was about to be revealed. In Grandpa's private office on the top floor, I sat at his desk reviewing his journals. The story they told was fascinating. How he purchased the hotel in 1960 from its original owner, a wealthy banker who'd built it in the 1920s. How he discovered the truth about its construction, about the secret vault built during an era when people trusted banks less than mattresses. Mr. Harrison didn't just build a hotel, Grandpa had written. He built the most elaborate safe deposit box in history. The original blueprints showed a sophisticated vault system beneath the hotel, sealed off and forgotten during the chaos of World War II. But Grandpa had figured it out, spent years quietly investigating while running the hotel above. Found more details. Another text from Dr. Zhang appeared. "Multiple chambers. Advanced security system for its time, and Rachel, the seals are intact." My hands shook slightly as I opened the folder containing the ground-penetrating radar images. There, beneath layers of foundation and forgotten history, was the proof of everything Grandpa had discovered. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Lisa, my assistant manager, looked excited. "The structural team is ready. They found the main access point." I gathered my things, including the small gold key Grandpa had left me, the one that didn't seem to fit any lock in the visible parts of the hotel. "Time to see what secrets you've been keeping," I whispered to the old building as I headed down to meet the engineers. Michael's Porsche was just pulling away from the front of the hotel. He'd probably been trying to sweet-talk my staff into supporting his takeover plans. I smiled, thinking about how tomorrow would change everything. But first, we had a vault to open. The basement of the Grand Plaza Hotel was a maze of corridors and utility rooms, most of them untouched for decades. Dr. Jime's team had set up powerful lights that cast long shadows against the aging walls. Their equipment, a combination of high-tech scanning devices and old-fashioned construction tools, stood ready. "We've located the primary entrance," Dr. Jiang explained, pointing to a section of wall that looked identical to all the others. "The radar shows a significant void behind it, matching the blueprints your grandfather preserved." I pulled out the golden key, its surface gleaming under the work lights. "And you're sure about the mechanism?" She nodded. The scanning revealed an elaborate locking system, quite advanced for its time. Your grandfather's notes were incredibly detailed. He must have spent years figuring this out. As the team began carefully removing sections of wall paneling, my phone buzzed. A message from Lisa upstairs. "Michael's back with Uncle Robert. They're demanding to speak with you about an urgent business proposal." Perfect timing. "Tell them I'll be up shortly," I replied. "And make sure the security cameras in the lobby are working." The next hour was a careful dance of engineering and archaeology. Layer by layer, the team exposed what had been hidden for nearly 8 decades, a massive steel door, its surface still pristine despite its age. The seal was perfect, Dr. Jiang marveled. No moisture, no degradation. "Look at these markings. This is Harrison Banking's logo from the 1920s. My hands trembled slightly as I inserted the key into a nearly invisible keyhole. According to Grandpa's notes, this was just the first step in a complex opening sequence. "Ms. Chen," one of the engineers called out excitedly, "the internal mechanism is activating. We can hear it moving." For 10 minutes, we listened to the clicks and whirs of ancient gears coming to life. Then, with a final heavy click, the vault door began to swing open. The first thing we saw was gold, not just bars or coins, but entire shelves of precious metal gleaming under our lights. Beyond that, boxes of jewelry, rare stock certificates, and documents that hadn't seen light since World War II. Initial estimate, Dr. Jiang breathed, checking her instruments, at least 500 million in precious metals alone. And that's not counting the historical value of the artifacts. My phone buzzed again. "Lisa, your family is getting impatient. Michael's threatening to call his lawyers." "Perfect," I replied. "Give me 5 minutes, then send them down. Security team in place. Ready and recording." I turned to Dr. Zhang. "Make sure everything is documented exactly as we find it. I have some family business to attend to." I was waiting in the corridor when Michael and Uncle Robert arrived, led by Lisa and flanked by security guards. "What is the meaning of this?" Michael demanded. "We have a serious offer to discuss, and you're playing around in the basement." "Actually," I said calmly, "I'm discovering why Grandpa really left me the hotel. Would you like to see?" Their expressions when they saw the open vault were priceless. Michael's face went from red to white in seconds. Uncle Robert had to lean against the wall for support. This is impossible," Michael stammered. "No," I replied. "This is what Grandpa spent years investigating. The original owner didn't just build a hotel. He built the most sophisticated private vault of his era. When the banking panic hit, wealthy clients trusted him with their most valuable assets. Then World War II came, and some of those clients never returned. But the property surveys," Uncle Robert sputtered, "never went deep enough, never had the right equipment, never had Grandpa's research to guide them. I handed them a preliminary inventory. We've barely started cataloging, but the value is already approaching $500 million. Michael's face twisted with calculation. "Now see here, as family, we should discuss how to handle this. My contacts in the banking industry are unnecessary," I cut in. "Grandpa left very clear instructions, and I've already contacted the proper authorities. The historical artifacts will be traced to their rightful owners where possible. The unclaimed assets will be handled according to law, with the hotel as the legal holder retaining a significant percentage." The next few weeks were a blur of activity. The discovery made international news. Historic hotel vault reveals fortune in lost gold, and World War II mystery solved. The Grand Plaza's secret treasure. Experts and historians descended on the hotel. The value of the find kept growing as rare coins and historical documents were evaluated. Michael made several attempts to challenge the will, but Grandpa's paperwork was perfect. The hotel underwent a complete restoration, maintaining its historic character while adding modern luxury. The vault became a museum, telling the story of a tumultuous era in financial history. Tourists flocked to see it, making the Grand Plaza more profitable than ever. 1 year later, I sat in Grandpa's old office, now beautifully restored, reading his journals again. One entry stood out: the true value of anything, whether it's a building or a person, isn't always visible on the surface. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hidden beneath years of neglect and misconception. Michael still sends occasional messages through his lawyers, each one containing a larger offer to buy the hotel. I keep them in a file labeled Missed Opportunities, a reminder that value isn't just about money. It's about understanding what others overlook. Aunt Patricia visited recently after the hotel won a prestigious historical preservation award. "Your grandfather would be proud," she said quietly. "He always said you were the only one who really listened to his stories." The Grand Plaza has become a landmark again, but not just for its hidden gold. We've maintained Grandpa's tradition of personal service and attention to detail. The staff knows every regular guest by name, just as he did. In the restored lobby, we've placed a photograph of Grandpa standing proudly in front of his hotel in 1960. Beside it, in a small display case, sits the golden key that unlocked not just a vault, but a family's legacy. Sometimes, late at night, I walk the quiet corridors of my hotel, thinking about all the secrets old buildings keep, about how success isn't always about tearing things down to build something new. Sometimes it's about carefully preserving what's valuable while bringing it into the future. And in the former vault, now a world-famous museum, visitors learn not just about hidden gold, but about patience, vision, and the importance of looking beyond the surface. Because sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't what you can see, it's the wisdom to understand what others have overlooked.